All right, it looks like we have everybody here, just waiting for Amy and Jennifer to get set up. So today we're going over our turtle series. So what I'm going to be doing is teaching you guys, or sharing with you guys a few things you can do to a turtled up opponent. We're going to start off with the simple things today, and then as the month progresses and continues, we're going to get into some things that are a little bit more wrestling centric, which is kind of what we did last week with the breakaway. But towards the end of the week, we'll do some things that are a little bit more familiar to you guys, like chops and strangles and things like that. So yeah, finally we got. So the only thing okay, cool. So they're all shared. You guys, I can see all of you guys right now. Let's do a quick check-in. I'm going to check in with Jennifer and ask you if you remember any frustration or difficulty you would have with somebody who would turtle up on you. Do you have any examples to share?
Yeah, sure. Like not being able to break either into their feet or into their arms. So like trying to reach in and they're like really locked tight here.
Mm-hmm. And do you usually have difficulties, this difficulty because you're training mostly in the gi doing this, or is it pretty equal gi and no gi for you?
For this position, I'd say it's pretty equal.
Oh, for gi? Did you say for gi?
Oh, I'd say pretty equal. I'll end up in this.
Oh, okay, it's pretty equal.
Gi and no gi.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, that sounds about right. What about you, Cha? Any difficulties or anything that you can share with the audience about the turtle position?
I mean, I like being a turtle, and I like attacking the turtle. I think it's really fun and a good position to annoy people. And I think with gi, I just play with the lapels more, like the back collar, or yeah. And then it depends with no gi. A lot of the times people are getting sweaty, so it's kind of easy to slip into
Sliding. Yeah, for sure. All right. What about you, Sarah?
What was the question again?
Just asking you, do you have any examples where you felt frustrated or you struggled when somebody was turtled up on you in order to advance?
Yeah, it's definitely years of frustration on that. I mean, I think I keyed in on maybe a technique or two somewhat more recently to deal with forcing openings, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that frustration with people being too comfortable in turtle and being hard to attack.
Is it more difficult? Are you having difficulty opening up their arms, opening up their legs to get in? Where are you finding frustration?
Yeah, getting the knee in between the arm and their knee. Yeah, not being able to get a hook in. Yeah.
Okay, and then what about you, Amy? Where do you have any examples to share?
Turtle is usually what happens when like there's a big weight difference and like the other man goes, how do we be nice to this tiny woman? And then they just turtle up and do nothing. And then what happens is at some point I'll reach my left hand around to the far side and they'll trap their elbow and roll, which I've mentioned before.
Yes, I remember. Have you been able to roll with anybody since we had that conversation? And have you found yourself in that position? And were you able to keep your elbow shallow so they can trap and roll you?
Yeah, I've been able to roll with one partner a few times. And no, like I don't know. I just feel like as soon as my hand hits that armpit, like they're gonna roll. But what I've been trying to do is like leap over and like beat the roll. So I come out the other side, which is,
Yeah.
which doesn't always work, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't help too if the person is super wide, and even if you do keep your arms shallow, it's still they have so much leverage around their mass that they're still able to roll you. So I completely understand that. Well, I don't have a gi to show you the example. I can actually take off my jacket to show you guys a better example. If the person is, if you are wearing a gi and you're a smaller person and you're trying to control somebody in turtle who you know is going to roll you. Amy, when you're training with this person, are you training primarily gi or no gi?
In the gi.
Okay, yeah, cool, perfect. So this is gonna work for you. I'm gonna put my hoodie on Benjamin over here, or I might just drape it over him. All right, and I'm gonna show you guys what works. This is a really great control position for the gi and in turtle. And it works well with people even larger than you. And it doesn't allow you to be so tangled up. Okay. All right. So you have your opponent in turtle and you're trying to figure out how to maintain good control over them. So in the gi, what is my favorite grip to use, especially on bigger people, is to use a lapel grip. So first, I always am going to attach myself to the hip. I don't need to overly entangle and grab the wrist. I'm just going to keep myself hunkered down in the hips and make sure that I keep them in that hip bowl that I always talk about, okay, which is that corner hip pocket. And I'm just trying to keep their butt in my hips and using my hands around their hip bones right here to maintain a good control. I think this camera's too far away. Hey. Okay, once I've established, okay, this person is really trying to settle in to the turtle position, this is when I'm gonna start to feed out the lapel with that close hand. So it's the hand that's on the opposite side of the body. We're feeding at that lapel, and I'm gonna take my hand that is on the same side as my body. So we have the far hand reaching across the body and the body that's on the same side. And we're gonna switch and grab that grip here. And I'm using my elbow and my forearm as a crowbar across their body. So I'm really driving my elbow down and pulling at that lapel. From here, my other hand is gonna grab onto the top of the collar, and I'm gonna use this grip to maintain control. And I'm still gonna keep them in my hip pockets from here. Once I'm in this position, I can use the lapel to either pull them to the side to open them up. I can use it to really lift them up if I want to yank them up from here and start to work to get my hips in. All right, so you guys have two options: to either pull them to the side or to yank them up. So go ahead and give that a little bit of time to play around with your dummies and your training partner. Yeah, cool. Yep, far hand. Yes, grip, collar, pull. Yeah, exactly. I'm here. Good. Now, Cha, you can go ahead and like be stubborn and really try. Yep. Or to stay in turtle. And Sarah, you just did the right thing. Just pull her over. You're just yanking them over, yanking them up and yanking them over. Everybody who has a dummy, I want you to practice yanking your dummy's head straight up or pulling at the lapel to the side, right? So you kind of have one of those two options where you can either feed in your hooks or just feed to the knee on belly to side control. Yeah, exactly. It's a really strong grip for the gi. Yep. Yep. And try to, when you yank her to the side, Sarah, try to get your knee, like you're not really doing knee on belly, you're kind of doing knee on hip, like you're putting your knee right here, just to keep her open. And you can start to slide into half guard or mount or side control from there. Yeah, and then drop your knee on her. Yeah. You guys can switch top to bottom. Person on the bottom, try and be super stubborn. Don't let them open you up. Yes, very nice. She was surprised how well it worked. That's how you do it. You just manhandle somebody with that grip too. You just manhandle them. She's like, holy crap. Yep. And even if she's really trying to get her base, look how you were able to just open her up just like that. Very nice. Okay, so it's Tara and Cha. You can do one more rep. And then on this next round, I want you to, the person on bottom is going to be more scrambly. Scrambly, what does this mean? Amy, I haven't seen you in Saturdays. That's okay, because I know everybody wants to have a life on a Saturday. But remember those when we're on our hands and we're doing our foot fire circle hip heisting? The person on bottom, you're basically doing that, okay? So as the person on top is trying to pull you and fling you to your back or to your side, it's up to you to start to get from here back and try to hip heights back through to try to keep yourself in that turtle position. Just try to keep yourself in turtle. Try to keep yourself from landing flat on your back or falling onto your side. For now, you're just trying to put yourself back to turtle, or referee's position would be, so we know what turtle is. This is turtle, or referee's position, which is just how you're up, right? And the person's trying to break you down. So person on bottom this time is scrambling. You're using your hip heights and your sit outs to keep you in turtle or into your referee's position. Person on top, you're just yanking them through. Now for the people who are with your dummies, Amy, you have a Swiss ball. Jennifer, you don't have a Swiss ball. So you guys are just gonna continue to yank your dummies back and forth. Amy, you can go between your dummy and your Swiss ball. And all you're going to be doing is, see if I can recreate it. You're going to be yanking your dummy to the side. You'll have to use your elbow to kind of prop the dummy back up as if it's trying to sit up, and run your feet around it. And just kind of play with your dummy as if it's going belly down, back to a seated position. And you're just running your feet around, just like how we did that smash drill when we would take the back, how we would smash the person's back, run our feet around and get our hooks in. Very similar. I'm being ginger with my dummy just because it's falling apart and there's sand falling all over the mat right now. With the Swiss ball, it's a little bit easier to demonstrate. With the Swiss ball, you're just here, behind, moving the Swiss ball around, pretending like you're yanking the Swiss ball and just keeping the ball between your hips, in your hip bowl, just like I always say, right? Doesn't matter where they're going. You want to keep your hips attached to the ball. You want to keep the ball between your knees and your hip bones as you're moving around, okay? Jennifer, questions?
Yeah, I'm not totally clear on what we're doing, so I can just walk.
Yeah, so watch Sarah and Chamu first, and it'll make sense. So Sarah is instead of being a stubborn, I'm staying in turtle position person, soon as Cha whips her up, she's gonna try to scramble just to put herself back into turtle. Does it make sense? Or to referee's position. She's just scrambling. I want you guys to scramble for a good 30 to 40 seconds, and then you can pause, okay? So Sarah's gonna kind of try to go with it a little bit as she yanks her up. Pull, yeah. So yeah, so do again. So start again, Cha. Start again, Cha. So this is the key here. Which if you end up in front of Sarah's head, you guys have to reset. Does that make sense? Reset. So your goal, Cha, is to stay behind Sarah the whole time as you're trying to whip her up. So you have to use your feet to move as Sarah's moving around. And Sarah, you might need to slow down the pace so you guys both get it, but just play around with it for a little bit. Let's go. Whenever you're ready. Yeah. Continue to try to scramble, sit out, sit a little bit, Sarah. Move around. Good in time. So if you end up with her pinned to the back, then you reset. Sarah, I want your goal to be to turn in and face Cha. So if Cha doesn't want your head facing her legs, your objective is to get your head to face her legs as if you're going to try to take her down. Make sense? Okay, try it again. Then go whenever you're ready. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, much better. Yeah. That's what I want to see. So people who are watching, the goal for you is just to move your feet around the object. So you're just working on moving your feet around your ball. You're just working on moving your feet around your dummy. And it doesn't have to be completely replicating what they did. You know, just stick to the original drill. You can stick to the original drill of whipping your dummy up, whipping your dummy to the side, but whip your dummy up and whip your dummy to the side. So try to chain those two movements together. So you're constantly moving your feet for about 30 seconds and then you take a pause and then reset. Does that make more sense, or is it confusing you more? Okay. All right. So in this position, your chest won't be on the ball. Amy, it's going to be more just your hip connection and using the ball to move your hand. Because remember, we're using our forearm. So. Ready? All right, and then from here you can try to get your hook in, Sarah. All right, because she kind of opened up her leg. So that was the first reaction you're gonna get, which is the more jiu-jitsu reaction, is just to be stubborn and to stay in turtle. The second reaction would be more of a wrestler's reaction. You whip them up, they're gonna stand up and try to cut away. All right. Very similar to what we worked last week. Yeah, try to stay behind her. Yeah, there you go. She's trying to stand up and cut away. You're gonna try to stay behind her and pull her down. There you go. Awesome. And at any point, Sarah, you can start to throw in your hooks or pull her down to side control. Try to play around with your dummy a little bit, Amy, whenever you're ready. There you go. Yee. All right, you guys, let's look in. So I guess we're working B stuff today. What? All right, so let's work. We pull the person down to the side and we're working in from here. So I have my dummy. All right, I have my grip here. And I'm able to whip him up and pull him to the side. At this point is where I'm going to try to get my knee into his little hip knee crease here. And I can start to drive my knee down. And I'm not going to bring my foot over if I don't have to. I can keep my hip here. I'm just bringing my knee down onto his body so he has the weight here. It's going to be very difficult for them to turn over because you're using the lapel to keep them pulled to their back. So I'm still holding to the lapel, pulling them back and driving my knee in. So I have kind of this cross body diagonal control from the top. From here, I'm going to work my hand inside around the neck. And I'm going to work in to gable gripping both of my hands. And I'm not working myself into an arm triangle. It's a different type of choke. It's similar to an arm triangle, but it's not. So I'm going to use my head as the floor. So my head is going to connect to their head here. My shoulder is in the armpit, pressing pressure so their own shoulder, just like similar to the arm triangle, is crushing their carotid. But I'm not squeezing. I'm going to get my shoulder deep, my hand through deep. My head is going to replace the floor, so I really need my head to put pressure against the back of their head. I'm going to base out, and then I'm going to just slowly drive down, let my body fall down like an elevator. So the motion of this finish is with my hand and my shoulder is as if I'm crushing a can, soda can. So it's as if I'm stepping straight down on a soda can this way. So if I don't have anything underneath me, so you guys can see how my body is moving, my hand comes underneath, this hand is facing down, this hand is facing up, so this can all collapse together. Now I'm here in a plank and I'm letting my shoulder drop down to the ground. I have to allow my body to move in unison as I'm falling straight down. If I do this, boom, boom, I'm losing a lot of weight to press into the body, and also I'm using mostly arm strength. So if I allow my body to stay as one unit, then my whole body gets to do the work. So let's have Sarah and Cha demonstrate, since Jennifer and Amy, you guys have never done this choke before. It's gonna be hard to flesh out the details without an actual person. And of course, this choke works really well without the gi too. So we're here, lapel, collar, right? You're gonna pull her towards you to the side and drive your knee down. Good, yes. Here you're gonna work your hand underneath. All right. Make sure your shoulder is driving down to her armpit and your head is on the back of her head. So you want to prevent her from pulling her, going flat to the mat. If she's able to roll her back flat to the mat, the choke doesn't work. Okay. So you're using your whole shoulder and your head behind her body so that she can't roll back. Now you're just dropping down. There you go. Very nice. I don't know the name of this choke. I forgot my coach. I forgot what my coach said the name of this choke is, but that's how it works. Cha, Sarah, do you have anything to share with Amy and Jennifer, since they're not able to do this with a live person?
I guess for me, it was when you got them on the side, their arms are going to be wherever, right? And you have to like maneuver in between. Is probably going to be the hardest part of that.
The hardest part is because the person, when they're on their side, they're going to be defending hard. So that is kind of it's how do I say this? It's almost like when you take the back and you're kind of working your hand through there. There's it's a game to it, but it's easy. It's not hard to set up. You can just kind of work to either punching your hand underneath. You can work to grab the hand from the other side. When I'm here, right? People are going to want to try to keep their hands close. So what I sometimes do is I'll go here, and then my opposite hand will grab their wrist, which will force them to open up this arm, because they want you to let go of this wrist, which kind of lets me switch my hand. So there's different ways to kind of play around with facilitating that arm through. The most important part that I want you guys to understand when you're getting this choke is that your shoulder, the one that you usually drive into the armpit, your whole body needs to be behind that back. Otherwise, they're gonna go from being on their side, which is how this choke works, or trying to figure out the best angle, right? So they're gonna be going from on their side to on their back. And as soon as they're on their back, the choke doesn't work, but it kind of feeds into the arm triangle too. So, Jennifer, do you have any questions? Just try it, yeah. Amy, questions? You good? Okay. All right, you guys, go ahead and practice it. Feel free to look up and watch Sarah and Cha drill as you guys are going through this. Yep. Try to be off your knees, Amy. You want to be out like a plank and have your whole side of your lap behind their body so they can't roll to their back. And then you squeezing from here. Remember, it's not a squeeze, it's you're coming down, you're crushing the can with your shoulder. Yep. And then Jennifer, you're kind of out of the camera, so I can't see you too much. Yeah, right there.
The arm that's on the floor, what's facing up? The blade or the flat side?
So this arm that's choking is facing down. The arm that's assisting is facing up, okay? This assist hand, you kind of don't really need it. You can actually learn how to choke them with just the one hand. It's about getting that hand deep, and it's about allowing your shoulder to drop to your own arm, okay? So if I'm here, boom, boom. I'm allowing my shoulder to drop here. I might be pulling up just a little bit, but it's mostly my whole body dropping that is what's making the choke work.
So it's the thing that's actually doing the choking, the top of the arm.
It's not really a blade. Oh, maybe it is. Hold on a second. Do it on the dummy real quick. No, you don't want to turn your blade in. You don't want to turn the blade in. You're still going to keep your arm relatively flat. It's mostly your shoulder driving it, forcing pressure for their shoulder to drive into their own carotid. So from the top here, and then your arm on the bottom is acting as secondary pressure, right? You need that second arm choking into their neck, otherwise it's not going to choke. It's going to relieve pressure, but it's not cutting in like a rear naked choke necessarily. You gotta let your hips drop too. Make sure you're off your knees. There you go. If you want to move Cha's head more towards the camera, I can probably see your body a little bit better, Sarah, as you're doing it, the choke. So that you guys are facing more like this versus like that. Yeah. Imagine here, leaning on belly, moving your hand through. Yeah. Try not, make sure your shoulder is a little bit too high. You want your shoulder underneath her armpit a little bit, and your whole lat, the side of your body, is going to be on her back, middle of her back. Like you're trying to align with the middle of her spine so that she can't roll off. Make sure you step completely off to the side of her. It looks like you're still kind of on top of her. There you go. Now try to allow her whole body to drop as one. Yeah. Better? Yeah, okay, cool. Positioning looks really good, Jennifer. Make sure you use your head behind the dummy's head too, because your head behind the back of their head is acting as counter pressure to make the choke even tighter. All right, you guys. So now I want you guys to chain in the arm triangle. As you know, the person's on their side, so they're really going to want to force themselves hard to their back. Sometimes they force themselves to the back, their back faster than you can get there to block it. So from here, your arms already set up. You're just going to work in from this choke here, right? You need to give yourself space. If you try to stay too tight, it's going to be too difficult for you to get your arm all the way through. You still have to work your arm deeper in order to finish the arm triangle. So for the arm triangle, especially Sarah and Cha, since you guys are working with each other, I want you to really try to practice the arm triangle one-handed. You're not going to practice this. You're not going to practice this. You're going to just practice it with just perfect body position and perfect weight placement. So as a person is trying to drive their back to the ground, you're going to give a little space so you can walk your hands through, and then you're going to finish the arm triangle here. So as I'm trying to finish, I'm going straight down, and then I'm kind of scooping myself up and to the side just a little bit. It's almost like I'm doing those Navy SEAL kind of push-ups. All right, do you guys need me to explain how to finish the arm triangle? I think you guys have all done it. Right now it's just chaining in those two moves together. Thumbs up if you're ready. Cool.
So is the basic difference between the two whether they have their back on the floor?
Yeah, exactly. So if they're on their side, I'm gonna call it the can opener choke. I don't remember the name of it. And then that feeds into the arm triangle, which is when the back is flat to the mat. Arm triangle, you're practicing it one-handed. All right, so you got to feed that hand deeper. There you go, very nice. One-handed, yeah. Nice, very nice job. Okay. Last bit. I know you guys practice this all day. Okay. What's the next person somebody does when they feel like they're getting choked in the triangle choke? So we're here. Oh no, they feel like they're getting choked. They're gonna put themselves back to their back. Oh no, they feel the triangle choke coming. So a lot of people go back to this type of defense where they're turning all the way to their side, trying to open up the space so that they can breathe against arm triangle choke. So you can go back to the first choke that I just showed you, or you can work what we were working all last month and chain in the back take. So I'm here in the arm triangle. We're practicing this one-handed, but as soon as you feel somebody trying to go back to flat to the back, you have to bring both your hands together. So you can fall flat to the back, beat them to the back, and then you're feeding your other arm through. for the rear naked choke. It's not very likely you'll get this choke, but you will get that to the back. And then we can work our back attack system that we've been working on this entire time. So you can start to try and pull them to underhook side, trap the arm, and work the system that we've been working earlier. The key ingredient here is to beat their back to the back. Beat their back to the mat, okay? So as soon as you're here, they're going to the, doing the arm triangle, they're gonna feed themselves to the side. And as they're feeding themselves to the side, that's when you're gonna bring both your hands together. You can S grip it, feed your hands through. You're flopping yourself to the back and getting your hooks. And you can pull them to the side and work to start trapping that top arm like we've been doing. Questions? Thumbs up if you're ready. Awesome. Go ahead and practice it. Last few minutes of class, getting in some work. Sand all over the mat. Yeah, so the trick try will be to not pull her on top of you. You're just falling to the side and beating her back to the mat. So try not to pull her on top of you. Otherwise, she'll end up in your close guard just like she almost did.
Am I trying to do? I'm
Well, okay.
trying to
So
put my,
I'm rolling, sort of. I'm falling to my side, rolling-ish.
Sorry, go to the triangle choke first. I was talking, but I didn't realize I was on mute.
Oh.
So it's going to, when you're taking her back, it feeds the back better when she's trying to defend against the triangle. Right now, you're
we're going just rolling.
Yeah, you're just you're rolling because she's already trying to put her back flat to the mat off the first choke. So off the first choke, it feeds into the triangle. When she's defending the triangle is when it's easier for you to get to the back.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so try it again. Yeah. She's forcing herself to the side. Now it's easier for you to fall let your hip fall to the mat. Yeah. Yeah. Pull her in. Now you can pull her all the way to the other side if you want to, or you can just work to her back from here. There you go. Easier? Yeah, okay, cool. It's all in the setup. Yep, and you guys have that gi too, so you got the bow and arrow chokes there. You can once you take the back, you can work any submission you want. All right, time. Everybody look in. Yeah, Does anybody have, okay, let's start with Jennifer. Questions, comments you have from today's class?
Yeah, that was awesome. I've always had problems with the arm triangle, like just in general. I think it's not in the right position. So I think I need to try it. I need to do more practice on the real neck to really be able to, yeah, to get that.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to find those nuances with the dummy. One thing that I do, like if you find yourself burning yourself out in the arm triangle, one, I try not to start to squeeze until I find myself in perfect position, because just the act of having that arm around the neck tightly is going to force the person to react. And I often use it to set up taking the back, which is my favorite. It's by far my favorite submission. I've even taught that to my students who are white belt, and they did it in tournaments. So it's by far one of my favorite ways to take the back is off that arm triangle. So yeah, if you can get together with Cha, whoever, it'd be good to practice that submission, and then let me know what you think from there. Amy, questions, comments from today's class? Yee.
Lots of cool stuff. Yeah, thanks for class. I have this, yeah, I have the same reaction as Jen. Just trouble with the arm triangle and finding that feel, and burning myself out trying to squeeze.
Yeah. See if I can get something going. Any tips, Cha, that you have for them?
Arm triangles are actually my high percentage submissions. I don't know how to explain it, but I make sure I make sure somebody's there, and then I go down first before I go up, so it doesn't feel like a lot of effort squeezing. I feel like I'm basically going down and then pushing upwards into them, rather than like trying to squeeze here or trying to I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you do with someone who's like barrel chested? Like I feel like my shoulder's so high off the ground.
Bigger people.
When you
I
were
feel
trying to finish, oh, sorry, Amy.
Oh, no.
I was going to ask you, when you're trying to finish the arm triangle, are you trying to finish it this way? Are you trying to finish it gable grip or S grip? And S grip, practice one-handed. You should be able to choke somebody one-handed with the arm triangle choke. And that'll tell you if you're in the right position, just like how Cha was saying. If you need to, you can make a fist. But how I was having Sarah and Cha practice with each other, I was having them practice one-handed. I usually have my hand flat down to the ground and I walk my fingers through like this. Similar how I have you guys walk your fingers when you're trying to raise somebody's arm up in side control. If you don't have your body in the right position, it doesn't matter what size the person is, you're not going to get the choke. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I was saying that it doesn't matter what size the person's arm is, you're not going to get the choke if your body isn't in the right position. So practicing that the arm triangle one-handed on a person will help you get into what Cha was saying is the perfect position. So then she can just work on going down versus pushing herself up and then down. If that makes sense. What did you have to say, Cha?
I don't remember.
Sorry. Sarah, questions, comments?
Yeah, that was a great class. I guess the solution to, getting your elbow hooked for that roll is what you're saying, is to take the grip on the lapel, which is great. And definitely Cha and Jen play that particular arm trap roll like all the time. So I need some tactics.
Yeah. It's a really good one to use on bigger people, especially if you're a small person in the gi. No gi, we don't have the lapel, so we're gonna next class we'll go over some things you can do without the gi on bigger people when they're all turtled up. In the meantime, you guys have a good grace of your week. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank